What's going on, everybody? This is Purple and Gold for Days, officially the second episode. It's Thursday evening. We're about to kick off Thursday night footballs. So what are we going to do today? Well, just a small little pick segment because why the heck not? Everybody else does. Everybody's doing it. But in all seriousness, it's about time that I get back to just doing a little bit more than talking Vikings all the time because here's the thought. We're actually going to play some of these teams, and we might want to see what they're doing. So with all that said, please like, comment, and subscribe both on the YouTube and Twitter pages. YouTube is Purple and Gold for Days. Twitter is JDay_24. This segment is brought to you by absolutely nobody because I just started this. So please share this with your friends. Let people know, hey, there's another content creator out there. It's not like there isn't 50 of them, but what's one more, right? But in all seriousness, please comment, subscribe, and share that with your friends and let everybody know that I'm not going to do just Vikings talk. I'm also going to do NFL talk. We're going to pick these games here, and this is going to be just a quick segment here, but put your comments down there as to where you think I'm right, where you think I'm wrong, what games you think are the best of the week, and what your predictions are. So let's just get started off right on here. Now, tonight, this might be Tom Brady's last stand. If he loses tonight, he's going to be 3 games under 500 for the first time in his career, or at least in a very long time. I'm going to say this. Thursday Night Footballs have been snooze fest, but it is Lamar Jackson. It is the Baltimore Ravens, and I don't know that this is going to be the most exciting game, but I think it is going to come down to the wire where I don't think one team's going to blow anybody out. But at the end of it, I do have the Ravens outlasting Tampa Bay. I know we got all that off the field stuff with Tom Brady, but he's done. He needs to retire like now, but definitely no later than the end of the season. It's one of those deals whether you love Tom Brady or hate him. It is kind of sad to watch here, but I like the Ravens to win tonight. Sunday morning in London, we've got the pitiful Denver Broncos and the almost as pitiful Jacksonville Jaguars. This is going to be a snooze fest. You know, it's one of those deals where if it's your team, you wake up early to watch the game, but honestly, not even fantasy football players are going to wake up to watch this slugfest. I mean, again, 4-10 are the combined records. Yeah, I know, some real decent Minnesota math there, I know. But having said that, Russell Wilson just looks terrible. Nathaniel Hackett is just terrible. I'm so glad we did not get that guy. I mean, obviously, I'm grateful we got O'Connell, but whether it was O'Connell or Jim Harbaugh, I'm glad it just was not this guy. I've got the Jags win this game easily. Moving on to, and here's the thing. If Tom Brady and the Patriots, the Buccaneers lose tonight, this game will be for the division lead of the absolutely awful NFC South. I know the Panthers looked halfway decent last week, but honestly, there's a lot of matchup this week the more I think about it of just really, really bad teams here. So I think I'm going to give the edge to Atlanta simply because they're at home, but there is part of me that wants Carolina to win because that would make it a 3-way tie. But at the end of it, I'm going to go with the Atlanta Falcons here on this one. Not much to say about this. Yes, cute little performance on Monday Night Football by Justin Fields and the Bears going up against the Patriots, but I do not see them 2 weeks in a row going on the road and beating halfway decent teams. Dallas, they're right there with the Eagles, Vikings, and the Giants. They're a very good team. Defensively, I think they're going to make Justin Fields remember that, you know, it was just a one week wonder last week up in New England. I got the Cowboys winning that game rather handily. The roar has not been restored. We're not going to spend too much time on this game. It's the Detroit Lions. Nobody cares. Tua Tagovailoa looked sharp the first half. Could have put a few more points up on the board, let the Steelers hang around, but the Dolphins are a completely different team when you have Tua Tagovailoa in there. I look for them to go into Detroit, and I'm going to say by at least 2 touchdowns on that when Miami wins that game. Another snooze fest and sneaker fest. You know, I had the Raiders being halfway competitive. I had them between 9 and 11 wins going into the season. I knew it was going to be a tough division for them, but they're just absolutely awful. This is their last stand. If they lose this game, they're completely done as far as playoffs in the AFC. The Saints, they're garbage too, but at the end of it, if they win and Carolina wins, you'll have all 4 teams in that awful NFC South being tied for the lead at 3-5. Maybe the Packers could petition the NFL to move to that division. They might actually have a chance. I'm going with the Saints, though, just for the fun of it. JETS, Jets. This is where reality sinks in for you, New York. Bill Belichick got embarrassed on Monday Night Football. He is not finna get 2 games in a row against mediocre to bad quarterbacks. I'm sorry. The Jets have been a cute little club. We like that you went into Lambeau and ran roughshod over the Packers. That's great. Congratulations. But I know you got a good defense, and I think that keeps the game close. But at the end of the day, I don't care who's starting or who finishes for the New England Patriots. The Patriots win this game. Battle for Pennsylvania is going to be it's just going to be an absolute slaughter fest. It was nice seeing Pittsburgh and their rookie quarterback, because I'll always have a soft spot in my heart for Mike Tomlin, but they're not going into Philly with a rookie quarterback against that team. They are just rolling right now, particularly now that they made that trade with the Bears. They got more help defensively. Philadelphia goes to 7-0. I don't think there's much question on that. The Tennessee Titans are the only reason that the AFC South isn't as much garbage as the NFC South. The only team with a winning record. The only team that looks halfway decent some of the time. Houston's just terrible. Hopefully Houston just decides to sell off some pieces. Maybe they'll get us their wide receivers on the cheap. Houston's got absolutely no shot in this game. Tennessee's going to run roughshod all over them. The Washington Commanders are going to go to Indianapolis off their stunning victory. Well, not so stunning for some of us, but victory nonetheless at home last week against the Green Bay Packers. Again, we thank you for that, and we'll put you back in your place next week, but we'll get to that later on. Indianapolis Colts. First, it was Carson Wentz that was the problem. Now it's Matt Ryan, apparently that's the problem. No, the problem is your team is trash, no matter who you put in at quarterback there. Washington's going to be on a 2-game winning streak when we see them next week. I got them winning this game by at least 10 points. Now, we get to some fun games. Finally, 2 games. 2 teams with winning records. How about that? The surprise Seattle Seahawks and the surprise New York Football Giants. I'm going to say the same thing about the Giants I said about the Jets. Reality sets in. I know East Coast team traveling west and all that good stuff, but Geno Smith is having his best season. And maybe Seattle was just limited last year by Mr. Unlimited. I don't know. All I'm going to say is this. I think this is going to be a very good competitive game. Seattle wins this game. They'll be all alone in first place in the NFC West. Giants, even with this loss, will still be very, very competitive, both for the division and for a wild card. But as much as I want to give props to Kevin O'Connell as a possible coach of the year, the New York Giants head coach has got this team going on. They don't have as much talent as the Vikings, but they are doing a lot of what the Vikes are doing, which is just finding a way to win games. I think that they come back down to earth here a little bit. I'm going with Seattle, but for the fact that they are the home team. Vegas has this game as Seattle -3, and if you don't bet, what that means is the home team always gets 3 points. So if this was on a neutral field, Vegas would say these 2 teams are even. I think Seattle with the edge at home gets it done. Staying in the NFC West, 2 teams that had higher expectations that haven't been lived up to your Super Bowl champion LA Rams and 49ers. Listen, the loser of this game is not out because the NFC is so weak, but the loser of this game is out of the division, and the loser of this game is going to be looking up at all those teams in the the NFC East. I said this 2 weeks ago before the trade of Christian McCaffrey that I still, other than Philadelphia and Dallas, thought that the biggest challenge for the Vikings if they were to meet in the playoffs would be the San Francisco 49ers. They always have a tough time playing in San Francisco. Hopefully that isn't the case, but San Francisco's offensive defensive lines are still very, very stout, which is a difficult matchup for the Vikings. So I know San Francisco led the league in defense up until last week and got slaughtered by Patrick Mahomes. You know what? There's about 20-some teams that would get slaughtered by Patrick Mahomes. I'm taking the 49ers on the road to all but end the Rams' reign. But hey, you know what? If we were the Rams, we'd be happy because we would have one. And as we always say, we just want one before we die. Monday Night Football, another snooze fest. I'm not going to spend too much time on this because the last 2 games, of course, are going to be us and the Packers. Cincinnati started off slow, but they're showing you why they got to the Super Bowl last year. It wasn't just a fluke. Cincinnati's going to just absolutely blow the doors off Cleveland. And so I'm taking the Bengals there. So now we get to the main events here. No pack, no. Blow, pack, blow. Go back home. Buffalo is going to not only beat the Packers, they are going to destroy the Packers. Aaron Rodgers, you came back because you wanted that paycheck. Just come out and say it. Just come out and say this is your last year. You're not having any fun. You look disgraceful. I love laughing at you about it, but at some point, it's not even funny anymore how bad your offense is and how bad your team is. You've held that organization hostage. Yes, they have never given you a first-round wide receiver, but if you're the Hall of Famer that everybody says you are, at some point, stop blaming everything on everybody but yourself. Josh Allen and Stephon Diggs and company, they're just going to kill them. So No surprise, we're taking Buffalo here. So, last game of the week, we always going to save the Vikings for the end. Listen, coming off the bye week, all that good stuff. Now, mind you, Arizona's coming off of a mini bye, so the advantage of rest is going to be somewhat neutralized because they played the previous Thursday night football game. I'm going to say it like this. I don't want to hear about Kyler Murray and Call of Duty or anybody else playing video games. It's no different than when Lawrence Taylor said, oh, I'm going to send up some lady people up to people's hotel rooms the night before games to wear them out and party them and get them drunk, whatever. You're the better team. You're the more consistent team. As inconsistent as the Vikings have been, they're still a more consistent team with the Arizona Cardinals. The Arizona Cardinals could come in here and win this game by 21 points and lose this game by 21 points. I said it earlier this week. I said it actually a couple of weeks ago. The Vikings need to stop dinking and dunking around with teams that they are better than, and they just need to go out there, execute. They need to go out there and play their game. They need to go out there and just beat somebody convincingly. I'm not saying it's got to be by 14, 17 points. But win a game where it's like, okay, there is no doubt the Vikings were the better team. There is no doubt that the Vikings played better. Just go out and play your game. And don't worry about what some other team is doing. We do that every single week, or is it only with Kyler Murray because of this ridiculous notion of putting something into his contract about having to study? It's the dumbest thing ever. Bottom line is this. Everybody keep talking about, Kirk Cousins is due for that explosive game. Yeah, maybe he is. But you know what? Teams defensively have kept their safeties back this entire time and have dared the Vikings to run this. I look for Dalvin Cook to have at least 130 yards and at least 2 touchdowns on aggregate, both passing and receiving together. I think this is going to be a Dalvin Cook game. Now, offensively, you can't have as many 3-and-outs. We talked about how they led the league in 3-and-outs last year. That trend has somewhat still continued, so it wasn't entirely on the Zimmer and Kubiaks, but you had a bye week to prepare. You looked really good in that first week against Green Bay because you had more time to prepare and there wasn't any tape on you. That's all well and good. This is the time where you come out there and say, you know what? Our 5-1 start, even though they've been close games and even though we pulled the rabbit out of the hat and had the horseshoe wrapped firmly around us, this is the game where you come out there and you dominate. And I'm not necessarily saying, like I said, I don't see it's got to be a 3-touchdown game, but go out there and dominate. Go out and show the world that you're 5-1, even though it was somewhat shaky, wasn't a fluke, and that you are definitively one of the top 5 teams in the entire NFL. That's going to wrap it for today. I'll have one more preview show here before we go to the game on Sunday. Please like, comment, and subscribe. I'm just getting started on this here, and I appreciate everybody who has thus far. Please tell your friends that Justin in Rochester's got his own show now. He's still going to be doing the Purple Code. He's still going to be collaborating with Mike Castellino. And one of these days, Mr. I Just Got a VIP, oh yeah, you know who you are, is going to come on this show, and we're going to have the Knockdown Dragon. But for now, thanks again for joining. Have a great rest of your day. Tomorrow night, Saturday morning, one more episode will drop for you. Until then, Skol Vikes, just one before.